Hi, I'm Phyllis, southernfrugal.com. Well, this morning we're going to make some sweet rolls, and we're going to start out with a no-knead sweet roll recipe, and this is just a basic standard recipe. And so after we mix it all up, we're going to actually put it in the refrigerator and let it sit for, I don't know, several hours. I'll be doing a bunch of other stuff in the meantime, and then when we come back, we're going to turn this sweet roll recipe into a caramel pecan rolls. And that might even be tonight. I don't know, because we've been working in the yard recently and we've got more work to do. But anyway, we're going to start out with a sweet roll recipe. Now this can keep in your refrigerator for up to 3 days, so you can make it ahead of time. Just put it in the refrigerator, and maybe the next day or even the day after that, make the rolls, or whatever kind of rolls you want. Alright, so we're ready to start now. I've already got my stuff measured out. Let me get up, get it so y'all can see. So the first thing I did was to scald 3/4 of a cup of milk. And I did that in the microwave just until it comes up and starts getting bubbles on it. And then to quickly cool it down, I added the 1/2 cup of cold butter, and of course that melted. Now we're going to set that aside. So the first thing we need to do is to get our yeast dissolved. And I like to use my little meat thermometer and make sure that water is at certainly no higher than 115 degrees. So somewhere between 100 and 110 would be perfect. And mine is about 105. That'll work. Alright, so I'm going to dump in this 1/2 cup water, 3 heaping teaspoons of active dry yeast. Now, I don't know how to measure it out when you get it in the little packets, so I'd guess at least the whole 3 packets you would need, but that's just a guess. So I'm going to dump that in the water and let that get dissolved and start foaming up. And that will probably take about maybe 5 minutes. In fact, we're going to use a 1/2 cup of sugar in the rolls. So what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of the sugar and give them something to feed on. So just mix it all up and make sure they're all dissolved. Doesn't take long. Some on my fork. Yeah, just mix it around. I just use a fork because it mixes better when you use a fork. Alright. That ought to do it. We'll be back in about 5 minutes and show you what this looks like all foamed up, and then we'll be ready to put the rest of the ingredients together. We'll be right back. Alright, we're back, and it's probably been less than 5 minutes. See how it's all foamed up? So we're going to go ahead and first I'm going to dump in my milk and butter mixture. Now I'm not sure if I said 1/2 stick of butter. That's not right. It's a whole stick of butter, 1/2 cup. So 3/4 of a cup of whole milk that's been scalded and 1/2 cup of butter. So I'm going to dump that in. And to that, we're going to go ahead and dump our yeast in. It's very, very foamy. And part of that's because of the sugar that I put in there. The yeast love that sugar. Okay. Now, we're going to go ahead and add the 1/2 cup of sugar, just regular granulated sugar, 2 teaspoons of salt, put that in, and I'm going to add 1 egg. Now I took this egg out of the refrigerator earlier, so it's at room temperature, and we're going to add 2 cups of bread flour. Bread flour just works better. You can use regular all-purpose flour, but bread flour is much better. Alright, now remember I told y'all this is no knead, but we are going to put it in the, got it in the mixing bowl, and we're going to go ahead and mix it. for several minutes. Now you can use a regular mixer for this. Just what you're doing when you mix it is you're working that gluten in the flour, and that really sort of takes the place of kneading. So we're going to go ahead. Remember, we've only got 2 cups of flour in there. Now after we get it all mixed up for a while, we're going to add 2 more cups. All right. And I've just got my regular mixing hook on there. It's not a dough hook or anything. All right, so we're just going to let this mix, and we'll be back in a little while. Okay, we let that mix for a good 5 minutes. It's all thoroughly mixed now. Now to add the last 2 cups of flour, we're going to have to do that using the spatula. And you don't really need to knead this with the dough hook, so using a regular mixer will work just fine. There's what it looks like. It almost looks like a cake batter. Okay, so now we're going to add the other 2 cups of flour in. Let me back y'all up just a little bit there. All right, so this is all smooth, and the reason for mixing that the way we do is that really stretches out that gluten in the flour, and it sort of takes the place of kneading. So we're just going to stir that around. And again, this is 2 more cups of flour that we're adding. And this is just a basic sweet dough recipe, but we're going to turn it into something special. All right, I'm just going to dump the rest of that in. And I did use filtered water, because the filtered water really works a lot better than just taking it from the tap. If you've got chlorine in your water, that doesn't work real good with yeast. And you don't have to be real super thorough in mixing this up. It can still have a little bit of flour showing, really. And it's going to be a sticky dough for sure. Alright, so now I'm just going to cover this with some saran wrap, put it in the refrigerator until I've got time to make the little caramel pecan rolls, I guess we'll call them. Alright, and it's going to rise up some too. So again, minimum 2 hours in the refrigerator. You can actually leave it in the refrigerator up to 3 days. Alright, we'll be back later on this afternoon. Okay, y'all, we are back. We didn't work in the yard. Instead of working in the yard, we went to Columbia and ran a few errands. And so the dough has been in the refrigerator for, I don't know, maybe 6 hours. So we're going to roll it out now and go ahead and get these rolls made. So let me turn it down so y'all can see. Back you up a little bit. There. All right. So again, this is just a basic sweet dough. I've got some saran wrap on my cooktop here, and I use this because it's just the most level place in the house, actually. And smooth top. All right, so we're going to take this out now. It's really, really cold. See if I can get that out. And what we're going to do is roll this out into somewhat of an oblong. Better to get it kind of stretched out right to start with. And just the best way you can. Put a little bit of flour on top. Now remember, we've already got a lot of butter in this dough, but we're going to use yet more butter. It's going to be a very, very rich pecan sweet rolls. All right, let's see if we can start rolling now. I'm going to roll it fairly thin, and it's really cold, so it's hard to roll when it's so cold, but you do have to put the dough in the refrigerator. And again, I think I mentioned this earlier, you can actually keep this dough for up to 3 days in the refrigerator. Now I'm gonna roll it out more this way. All right, y'all, I got to get this rolled out. We'll be back in just a minute when I can get it all rolled out. All right, we've got the dough all rolled out. Now, when it's cold like that, it is kind of hard to roll it out, but it's better to not let it get to room temperature because then it starts sticking to everything. So now that we've got it rolled out, let me measure that. Hold on. Just measure it for y'all because I know someone will ask if I don't. All right, so I rolled it out to 19 by 13, oblong shape. Okay, so now what we're going to do is use 1/4 of a cup of melted butter and just paint the whole surface with this butter. It's about 1/4 of a cup. Now you don't want your butter hot because you don't want to kill any yeast. So you want to melt it and then let it get sort of to, you know, just lukewarm. Okay, I'm going to use all that butter. And just spread it out all over the whole surface. All right. Make sure I got all of it out. All right, that'll work. Okay. Now the next thing we want to do is sprinkle it with some light brown sugar. Just sprinkle a little on it. You don't want much, just a little bit. And that'll work. Okay. Next, we're going to put raisins on. Now this is 1 cup of raisins. I put the raisins in a 2-cup measure and filled it almost up to the top with water. Put it in the microwave for about 1.5 minutes. Let it get really hot and then let it sit and let these raisins soften up, and then just dump the water out. And you've got softened raisins. So I'm putting a whole bunch on here. You want to make sure you get them all the way to the end. Now, I like the raisins and the pecans together, and the raisins give you that little, you know, little surprise, sort of. And because they're softened, of course, they're much, much better. Okay. So now, on top of this, we're going to add 1 cup of pecan pieces. And just a whole bunch of pecans right on top. I started out with 3 cups of pecan pieces. All right, so now we're ready to start rolling this up. There's a whole pecan there. There's another one. And there's another big chunk. Okay, so now we're going to start rolling this up. Now, this end is more even than this end is, so I'm going to start at this end. And remember, we sprinkled some flour on the saran wrap here, so it should be fairly easy to roll it up and get it started. And then just keep rolling it. And try to not get a whole lot of air in there. There's another whole pecan. Again, you want to roll it fairly tight. And there's another one. Now the dough is still cold, and that's why I'm able to get it off this saran wrap, because it is a sticky dough, really. All right, once you get to the end, you want to pull that piece up and kind of stretch it over like that. Just stretch it over. Maybe little nuts or little raisins that come out, you want to just put them back in there. All right, now we want to seal this up by just taking it and pinching it real hard together. Get that edge all pinched up. All right. Also going to just pinch the ends together too. Alright, so there it is. We got it all ready to start cutting it now. Now sometimes it gets bigger in the middle and you just take it and kind of stretch it out a little bit like that. Yeah. Okay, so to make the bottom of the pan ready, this is a regular, just, it's actually a jelly roll pan. I use it as a cookie sheet, so I've got 1/4 cup of melted butter on here that I let get back more solid. And so what we're going to do is sprinkle some brown sugar on this also. And again, this is probably going to be more like 1/2 cup. There's a hard piece of sugar. And this is going to actually be the topping, because when we take this out of the oven, we're going to flip it over, and this will actually be the top of the rolls. Alright, that will be enough. And now we're going to put more pecans. A whole bunch of them this time. So altogether I have used 3 cups of pecans. Pecan pieces. Got some whole ones still in there. Get it right to the edge. Alright. Break up those that are whole. Yeah, these are pecans from our local growers. So when they say pecan pieces, some of them might be whole. Alright, so there's what's going to end up the top of the rolls after they're cooked. Alright, now we want to kind of set this aside. I'm going to pour my dough over to me. And now we're ready to start cutting this. I'm just going to put my pan down right here. Now we're going to need to let these rise. Oh, there's another whole pecan right there. Going to have to let these rise. So that should only take about an hour. So now I'm going to cut these. I'm just going to do it right, 1/2 and 2, and 1/2 and 2 again, and again, and then we'll just go back and halve the halves. And now I'm going to try to make 3 rolls out of each one of these. Now some of the stuff's going to come out, and I usually use scissors to do this. Sometimes that works out better. It's for sure a lot faster. So now we're ready to start putting them on the pan. Just going to take my end pieces first and mash them down into that butter and brown sugar and pecan mixture. Oops, get these all cut into. Just mash them down. All right, I'm going to finish getting these on this pan and we'll be back and I'll show you what they look like. Okay, I forgot to put my cinnamon on. I was going to put some mace on and a little bit of ginger. Now, because I forgot it, now normally when you have it all rolled out and after you put your butter on, that's when you would put your spices on. But never fear, we're going to just put a little on top of them right here because this will actually be the bottom when they get done. All right, and I use ginger to kind of offset the sharpness of cinnamon. Not much, just a little bit. All right, and now we're going to use the ground cinnamon. Not much, but a little bit. Because you don't want them to be so spicy that you can't taste the roasted pecans is what they'll be after this gets done. All right, that should work. All right, y'all, we'll show you what they look like after they rise up and when we get ready to cook them in the oven. Now, I'm going to put these actually in the oven with my oven light turned on, not the oven itself, but just the light to give them a little bit of heat or warmth, and they need to double in bulk. All right, we'll be back. Okay, the rolls have pretty much doubled in bulk now, and I'm going to go ahead and bake them. Now, I am going to preheat my oven to 350 degrees and bake them 20 to 25 minutes. Now, because I'm using a pan that is pretty thick on the bottom, I actually cook mine on the lowest rack. All right, when these get done, we'll be back. Okay, I just took these out of the oven and flipped them over on this little tray. And we're going to go ahead and separate them, and I'll put them on the plate and show you what they look like. All right, we'll be right back. All right, here they are. I'll let y'all see they're light and flaky. Right there. Gotta eat that. There they are, lots of pecans. In this whole thing now, I use 3 cups of pecan pieces. All right, y'all, we will see y'all next time.